Welcome to our podcast, Happy Household. We appreciate you listening in. Ben and I started this podcast to share some insights on what we have found successful and maybe what wasn't so successful. Our hope is that we can help each of you in some small way while getting to spend some quality time together. We feel the key to a successful relationship is trust and communication. Whether it be with friends, family, or significant others, open communication builds trust and creates a home that can become a happy household.
Hello, Sweet Pea.
Hi.
How you doing?
Doing okay. How are you?
I'm just peachy.
I didn't sleep very well last night, so I'm very tired.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that we can get to the bottom of your sleep stuff.
Yeah, me too.
And that way we can, because I like Chipper you better.
Yeah. Ending up in the ER was not fun.
No. And we had a little snafu the last week.
A little scare.
Yep. Somebody decided that she was going to black out in the shower for a split second. Now, granted, she caught herself and we're okay and didn't have any super massive, like blunt force trauma or nothing, but we did have a little scare. She was not breathing very well, so that
Still not.
Yeah, that gave us a fast pass.
Yeah.
Straight to the ER.
Well, we didn't go straight to the ER. We went to the doctor first, and I wasn't breathing very well, and they asked me to breathe deep to check to make sure. They did the whole COVID, flu, all that stuff. Everything came back negative, and then they went to have me breathe deep to check my lungs to make sure everything was okay. And I couldn't do that. I ended up getting really, really dizzy. And so then they did an EKG, and
it was messing up everything.
That was not normal. My heart rate was a little bit different than it's supposed to be. So they monitored me for about an hour in the doctor's office.
That's because it was missing me. I wasn't there at the doctor's appointment.
Yeah, that was part of it. And the whole, taking my breath away.
Yeah.
know.
I wasn't in the shower to take your breath away, though.
Oh, yeah. Then they retested. They tried to have me breathe deep, did the same thing. And so they're like, we're going to send you to get a little bit more tests done. So we ended up in the ER, and we were there for 6 hours. IV breathing treatment, steroids. I have 2 follow-up appointments with pulmonology. So Lord willing, we'll figure out what's going on. So if I sound a little breathy this episode, people, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best, and I'm living my best life over here, trying to not.
I would say don't feel sorry. Don't apologize for something that's not your fault.
No. So I might not be talking as much in this episode because it is very hard to talk, because for some reason I get very winded when I talk or walk or anything like that. So
yeah,
get everything figured out.
Yeah, this week we should have some answers before the next episode.
My fingers crossed.
Yeah. So
yeah, we got an appointment later this week to get a couple more tests done and figure out what it is, and they're thinking it, maybe asthma or COPD, I think is what they said it was, or possibly, I don't know. So send good vibes, prayers. Ended up having a viral infection too, so that didn't help.
Right.
So it sparked certain things. So
now that I think about it, this has not been a very good week for all that stuff. We had all your stuff, and then we had a friend of mine, his son has passed away from cancer.
Yep.
Just this last week. And this has not been a very good week for
I've heard
for happiness anyway.
Yeah, we it's been a rough week for us around this household, and my oldest ended up making a decision that was not so bright of her.
Put another ding in the happy side, that's for sure.
We won't go into detail to save her privacy, but let's just say that she ended up getting her phone taken away, and her driver's license is mine till she's 18, or until I feel she can provide adequate proof that she can be trusted. But she's taking it well. She's doing well. She's okay. She made a boo-boo, and she's living with her consequences, and she's taking it like a champ, to be 100% honest. Like, she's she's a very good kid. She's so responsible. But she made a snafu, and it was a big one, unfortunately. So
Yeah, and
we had to lay the hammer down.
Yeah, we had to Thor that bitch.
Yeah, well. No hitting of children were done in this episode, or any at all. But no, we've had as you know, a lot of people do. They have rough days, rough weeks. It's just been a very rough week around this household, and it's, to be 100% transparent, it's been a struggle to find the happiness and the bright side to some things when it just seems like things just keep coming and keep coming.
Yep. But you know what though? You're not alone.
I know.
We will charge through it. We will get through it all. We will come out on top, and we will prevail. Because that's the way we are.
I always remember that God doesn't give you more than you can handle with His strength.
Yep.
Not your own, with His strength.
Yep.
And He's in the midst of it. He's allowing certain things to happen, and
He wants you to see how bad it could be.
No, He's not a vindictive God. He's a just God, but
I'm not meaning it as vindictive. He's just saying, like, you know, it's not that bad, right? It can be worse. And here's a little peek. See, you can handle this because I'm here for you, but I still want you to see what the possibilities could be, and to let you know that that's not what I have in store for you.
Yeah, my mom and my grandma are very wise women, and I always remember the saying that, you know, God is gentle. He will try to gently tell you and gently, you know, coach you through things, but there may be times where you just either are choosing to ignore or, you know, don't believe or whatever that may be. And I say all that by way of saying that, you know, my family and friends often, including some of my coworkers and one of my team members that I'm very close to, has even told me, like, you need to take some time to yourself. You're wearing yourself down. You always put yourself last. You need to slow down. Yeah. And I think this week was maybe the Lord kind of saying, I've tried to tell you not.
He's sitting right next to you in the passenger seat saying, hey, driver, hello, e-brake.
So let's just say ultimately the doctor ended up taking me off for, you know, a good 2-3 days from work. And basically their words, quote unquote, were, you need to rest and relax. Like, you need to.
And what did we do for rest and relaxation? We went to Bundy Hill.
Yeah.
Which was no rest at all.
It
was relaxing.
It was resting because I was outside. I was in nature. I was being able to.
No stress, no complications.
Yeah, it was just me, my quad, and I was having
a whole bunch of mud.
Yeah. I didn't do it very long, unfortunately, because I was having a hard time. I think I had my inhaler a couple times.
And it was a little chilly too on top of that. So,
yeah.
But we weren't out there. We weren't out there to do a lot of, you know, heavy riding. That was just kind of, you know, we got a trip coming up here in a couple weeks, and we just wanted to make sure that everything was working right and testing all the equipment and the trailer and.
But more than that, we knew we needed time. We needed time to get back to no responsibility, no medical appointments, no medical dangers, we just wanted to be free. And that is where, you know, we find our freedom is in the Lord, and He has provided us with some very fun machines to be able to take us to nature and just go get dirty and have fun and make memories. And you know, it was a lot of fun. I do not like that I had to relinquish my driving ability. That frustrated me, which he knew. You knew.
Right.
It was very hard for me to sit in the passenger seat of.
That's because I'm a crazy driver.
You're a lot of fun. And if it was my choice, I always ride with you. It's fine. But giving up driving on my quad, that was hard.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. I know. I mean, I made the transition from a quad to a side-by-side, and I really enjoyed my quad. And don't get me wrong, I love my side-by-side. But the amount of freedom and I don't know, false control that you have over a machine like that.
Never fully have a control over that. That thing
No,
has its own mind, but
that's
yeah.
why I said the false control, because those kind of machines are always chaos.
Yeah.
They're 100% chaos all the time. You don't have full control over it. You just kind of sometimes manage the chaos a little bit. But I went from those to where I'm at now, not because I wanted to, but because my body was just not physically able to ride those like that anymore. Now, I've had a surgery, and I'm going to have another one here in the fall. And maybe I might revisit once in a while, but I think that
You have to be a lot more mindful to what your body is telling you at those points. And it's not that you can't ride, because you can. You can still ride them. It's just you can't ride them the way that you love to ride them, which is wild and crazy, safe and sound, getting muddy, come back covered head to toe in mud because you found that spot that is that coveted spot of just craziness. And like you said, managing the chaos. And you can't, it's hard because you can't, it's not that you can't do something. Physically right now, no, you can't. With what you have upcoming, it would be dangerous for you to do it.
It'd
so
be painful,
it will that and dangerous. So I applaud you for putting your health, because sometimes people don't put their health above their happiness, which sometimes you have to do. So I do commend you for that. But this weekend was the first time I've had to do that, and it was very, very hard.
Yep.
But you made it easier because I've seen you have to do that same thing, and you're okay. You're doing okay.
Right. And I still have fun with it.
Yeah,
I still have tons of fun with it.
Yeah, I was one that had to wash the damn thing. I saw the fun you had with it. Well, literally, I'm not kidding. You had like 4 inches of, if not more, of caked on mud. I had to spray wash this dang machine.
We sprayed about 3 times with the power washer.
I sprayed it twice, and you went out and sprayed it once.
And it could use it again.
All you got was like little driplets here and there. I was like, I worked my butt off. Now, mind you, I had to take like 10, 15 breaks between that because I couldn't freaking breathe.
But you know what the sad part is, though, is that since you were riding with me and you weren't feeling good, right? Because you were having pressure in your chest, and the seatbelt has a tendency to create a little pressure there.
Yeah.
I was going extremely easy.
And you still managed to get 4 or 5 inches of mud on the freaking, and managed to get mud inside the cabin of the dang side by side.
Well, that's the easy part.
And no, not necessarily with the way that yours is designed. It's not as easy as you think it is.
All you gotta do is get in a little bit of water. It flows right in through the sides.
Well, water is a different thing. The mud, like getting it to stick. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you did.
A little bit of throttle control and a whole lot of spinning the wheel side to side.
Wow.
It flings it. Those are brand new tires. That stuff will get chucked all over. Now, those tires don't fling it nearly as much as my previous set of tires. The ones I had on there before were mud lights, and I tell you what, that stuff would grab chunks the size of your head and chuck them. So there's not nearly as much mud as I've had on there in the past, but I did baby it a little bit.
Says the guy who broke the subtrans of his vehicle, or of his side-by-side, so he had to...
I was kind of broke before I got it, and that's beside the point.
Okay, okay. Yeah, okay.
But this weekend was not just for, a little bit of breathing space and a lot of fun. We also got to spend time with my daughter and her boyfriend for a few hours as well. So it was a good day, right? I mean, we had fun. It was stress-free. I got to spend time with my kid and
one-on-one, and I think that was the point. Is between the two of us, we have 8 kids.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard to get one-on-one time. One of the boys gets a little bit of time every week with you.
Yep.
And with me. Here and there. The one lives in Georgia, so we get very rare do we get time with him.
Phone time is all I get with him once when he's not.
Yeah.
He works 6 days a week.
Military.
He's a Marine Corps recruiter out of Georgia. But he's scheduled to work, 14, 16-hour days 6 days a week. So, and he's got a new family as well. So
Yeah.
he doesn't have a lot of time to make those connections, and I completely understand. So as long as he's happy,
Yeah, but like I said, it was really nice to get the one-on-one time with your daughter, and
Kate, and with Spencer.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and my daughter's got some time with my mom, so
Yep.
it was really nice to be able to spread the love, because when we say happy household, yes, we mean our immediate family and the people that are in this household and our kids, but that household extends out to your mom, my
Yep.
mom,
It reaches all the way out.
yeah, yeah, my ex mother-in-law, who I love to utter pieces, to her mom, who I loved.
She's a riot, I tell you.
Yeah, we're still best friends. She told my ex-husband she gets me in the divorce and it's stuck. I love her. I love that family. They are tremendous. They are wonderful human beings.
And they're completely inviting too, because I expected, when we started dating, I figured, well, I'm not going to have quite the same openness with and I tell you what, they were like, yeah, come on in. You're just like family.
Yeah.
And
and he got grilled. My mama grilled him just like.
At first, it was a little bit awkward because the dynamic, but after a couple visits, it's just like these people are just cool as crap.
Yeah.
They definitely are an awesome addition to family. They definitely the whole set, not just that side, not just your side, not my side, but all
family
of them together.
Family
right, is an awesome. It's awesome all the way around, and it definitely gives us the ability to be a very happy household when we look at it as a whole.
Yes.
And the little things like the little snafu with the kid, or a little snafu with the health or whatever, because we know that we're going to get to the bottom of it. We know it can be fixed, and we know it can be managed. The whole group as a whole gives us the opportunity to still remain within that happiness, because we can find it anywhere, right? All we got to do is just enjoy it and look.
We're able to have a happy house, and we know that not everybody has this. So we
are very blessed.
Yeah, we are very blessed, and we understand that life is not easy for anybody. Everybody is going through something. Everybody is facing something, but we know that we can create a happy household because we have a wonderful village to help us.
Right.
That is there to support us. And that includes, my best friend, who's been my best friend since the freshman year in high school. I named my kid after this girl. Like, I love her to pieces. Like, people who choose you every single moment of every single day to help you grow and be a better person, but not just you, the people that you love the most in the world. And that is something that we are very blessed for. But it was really nice to be able to spend the time with Kate and Spencer one-on-one, because a lot of the times, because, the younger four are still in high school and below, so they're here all the time. So, she comes over and she spends time here, and it's great. But it was nice to be able to just focus on her and and
you don't have to
creating
worry about
those memories. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about splitting your attention amongst other things. You're all enjoying the same thing, and all the attention is focused right there. And she lives.
No matter how bad you bottom out there, Kate. Great recovery though.
Or how close you're getting stuck, Spencer. But she lives 40 minutes to an hour away, so she doesn't have that opportunity. And she's a young woman, and she's got a very busy life planned out, and doesn't give us a lot of time to do that. So we do enjoy it every minute we get.
Yeah,
and the mud was fun too.
Yeah, so we're definitely trying to focus on one-on-one time with each of the kids, with something that they love to do too, because it's not always easy to manage out,
to balance
a job, a relationship, a parent and child relationship, a spouse or significant other relationship. You have to be able to balance out all of that, and unfortunately, if you don't make it a point to make that a priority, then it does go by the wayside, because life will continue to throw things to distract you away from the things that really matter, which is the ones that you love, and creating that village that gets you through the hard times like this week, that it was nonstop. The enemy was just Here, let me throw this at you. Let me throw this at you. Let me throw that at you. Let me do
Yep.
that. And it was after like months long battle of things coming out from left field. So it was just kind of the culmination of,
When they said the world doesn't stop turning, they weren't lying.
no.
It does not stop turning. Regardless of where you're at, it just keeps right on turning.
Yeah. And but with all that said, we hope you guys had a much better week than we did. If you didn't, our hearts and our prayers go out to you, because
Yes, it does.
we understand that life can get dark and dusty, and it's hard sometimes to see the light at the end of it. But remember that there is always light at the end of it, and that you are valuable and that you matter. What you feel matters, what you think matters. Share that. Respectfully share that, because
Right.
some people may not agree with your viewpoint, and that's okay, because they weren't meant to. They weren't meant to be you. They weren't meant to think like you.
Yeah, if you think like everybody else, then you're not unique.
And everybody is unique in their own way.
And that's what makes the world so special.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times we get caught up with
The mundane.
being right rather than being heard. And I
Right.
think that is where a lot of the things nowadays, people were drowning and I'm not being heard. So I have to force people to see my viewpoint because I'm right. You may be right. You may be wrong.
The
But-
thing is, though, is you may be right, but you're only right for you.
Yeah.
You're not
For
right for everybody else
Yeah.
because they are unique to themselves. And I think a lot of people miss that. They think, well, you have to think like I do because I'm right. No, you don't.
I can respectfully disagree with you
Right.
and not make you wrong, because what's right for you isn't right for me.
That's right.
If that were true, then everybody would be able to date everybody.
And we would all be one person.
Yeah. Which I'm not right for everybody. You're not right for
We'd be
everybody.
the collective robot AI.
iRobot. Shout out Will Smith. World's taking over of robots.
I was actually going way back old school, nerdy old school. I was going Star Trek: The Next Generation with the Borg, which you wouldn't know nothing about it, but they were a collective. They had no uniqueness whatsoever.
That sucks.
Yeah, it did. And if there was uniqueness, the collective destroyed it.
Shocker. That's been a telltale tale.
Yep.
It's the beginning of time.
Yep.
It's one of those things where you have to, that's a hard thing for people nowadays, I feel like, to do, is to respectfully disagree with another person.
Oh yeah.
They're so hell-bent on being right and saying this is right for everybody. This is how it
Yeah.
should be. You should accept every little thing that I tell you, or don't accept what I don't tell you. Like it's just,
And they're judgmental about it on top of all that.
yeah, you can't just look at a person and go, cool, that works for you. I don't think that's right, but that works for you. Fine, whatever. Like, that's your life. I ain't got to live it.
Right. As long as it doesn't impose on me, we won't have no problems.
Yeah. I wish the world had more open-mindedness and open-heartness. I think that, in truth, I think that everybody has their own truth, but I think if we understood and stopped trying to listen to react and instead listen to hear,
Right.
people would feel more heard and more valued. And
Yeah.
there would be less suicides. There would be less, going out there and doing things that people don't necessarily want to do, but they do to get attention. I think the world would just be a much better place if we just treated people like human beings and not a statistic.
Treat them like we want to be treated.
Which is
'Cause-
hard sometimes because we're worse on ourselves than really anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes. But sometimes, a lot of times, I feel that they're harder on other people just so they don't feel bad.
Bullying
Which
is a
is-
huge epidemic in
Yeah,
this
which is
country.
it's not feasible. It doesn't do any good. It only brings the rest of the world down. And unfortunately, you're on this boat just like the rest of us. You bring it down, you go down with the ship, just like everybody else. So let's not put bullet holes in the bottom of the floor. Let's keep those holes patched
Yeah.
instead of sinking.
Speaking of patching boat holes, we started watching this show, which I don't know why it's so intriguing to us, but it's called Port Protection, and it's on Disney Plus. At least that's the one that I've seen it on. And it's about this little village, Port Protection, Alaska. And it's got this group of people. I think it's like less than 100 people live there.
Yeah,
I think is what they said.
around there, yeah.
And this show, just the camaraderie, that they don't live by money. They don't live by electronics. They don't live by, they live off the land, and it's like neighbor helping neighbor. And everybody has a different background. There's a mechanic on there. There's an engineer on there. There's, a fisherman. There's
lumberjack.
Yeah. And it just, they all come together to teach each other little tricks of the trade and train them and.
Yeah, because in that setting, everyone's part of the chain.
Yeah.
Right? And if you have a weak link, that makes the whole chain weak.
Yeah.
And they are, they're 100 miles from the nearest town, or the nearest hospital. They are 50, 60 miles from the nearest town.
Yeah, they have to have their food flown in. They like one of the couples is actually trying to build a farm so it's more self-sustaining. They just built, the last episode we watched, they built a
greenhouse,
a community greenhouse. And the thing that I love most about this is their determination and their heart and their spirit, and the fact that they don't trade in monetary stuff. They trade in goods and services.
Right.
Like, hey, you got goats, I'll help you go get them. How can I help you get the food to it? How can I help you? Right. And it's, so to get some duck eggs for the protein, they've got goats now for the dairy. Milk. Yep. So they're starting in this greenhouse. They're hoping to start growing food so that by the time it gets to them, which is really sad to hear, by the time it gets to them from, they call it the lower 48, the food is almost rotted because it takes so long to get up there. And so they have to make do with, living off the land. They go hunting. They use every bit of hunting, fishing.
Yep. They get a lot of them. They source a lot of the materials from garbage that has been thrown away, scrap metal. They use metal from scraps.
Any boats that have washed up on sea, they reuse a lot. Like, it's so phenomenal to see people helping. You want to talk about people helping people. Yeah. People helping people survive, because that's what's needed.
Yeah, because survival is the number one thing that they have there. Yeah. And the camaraderie in the community is a necessity, because that's all they have.
And you have people that have lived there for 50 some years, and there's a new girl in town that was only living there for 3 years. She ended up moving up there for a boy, and then she ended up falling in love with him, and she stayed. Relationship didn't work out, unfortunately, so that's a bummer. But
kind of curious if it's one of the people that are on the show, or if it's one that's not there no more.
I don't know. They haven't really introduced a lot of the characters.
They don't do a lot of personal stuff. It's more for the show is more to show you how to survive, or how they survive.
Their livelihoods,
There's been a few shows throughout the years that do the same thing, but it's a new one, and it's a beautiful landscape, though.
Yeah, Alaska is beautiful, but it's I've happened to come across an episode of it, and I watched an episode of it, and Ben walked in the room, and he got like really intrigued, and now it's kind of our show. Every night, like, we do an episode or two before bed, and then the girls don't. I mean, they've tried to watch it, but they're just like, I don't understand. Like,
that's because it's not love and drama.
It's also, I think, it's built for not for kids. It is and it isn't, because
it's more based off of life.
Well, the generation is so electronic, they probably don't understand half of what the people are saying. I'm building a wood burner. They don't know what that is. So every time we have to explain to them, what's a wood burner? It's basically a heating system, but with wood. And the great thing about it is, like, my kids can connect because your parents still have one. So I'm like, it's like what they have in their house, but this is the only form of heat that they have. So if they don't go down and cut trees, and they're not allowed to cut down any live trees, it has to be dead standing trees, which I thought was really cool, because they're preserving the forest. Because actually, it's actually a rainforest is what they live in.
Yeah,
it rains every episode. Like, if it's a 45-minute episode, it rains like 35 minutes of it.
It's always raining. But that's I don't know if it's a rule that they've kind of set forth. I don't know if it's due to the area. I think it's more of a local law than it is.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, it's a rule between.
But the thing is the trees that they live and die there so much that there's always room for. There's always a resource there, and
Yeah.
they do cut down if there's live trees. They've cut down a few live trees, so I don't think it's really a law per se. More,
Well, I
than
just meant like I said a rule,
community
not a law,
rule.
but yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a community rule that
yeah.
you don't take, quote unquote, this is what a lot of them have said. It's not easy living. It's not for the weak. It's for the determined. If you're not willing to get off your butt, don't move here.
Right.
But you live and die by this land. You
Yep.
take care of it.
Yep.
Like that's just it. You have to preserve, because if you keep take, and you don't replenish, you're killing your livelihood right off the rip.
Right. Yep.
And it's, I don't know, I really love the show. I love the people.
Well,
The language is a little harsh sometimes, but I think it's just different kind of living. It doesn't bother me, but just to forewarn anybody who may potentially watch it. But you know, it's really interesting because there's one guy on there, Carlson, Sam Carlson, and he has. They all are brilliant in their own ways, but it's so amazing to see that he just goes to the scrapyards, picks a couple things up, and all of a sudden he's got a water system. I'm like, what the heck did you just do?
He's like the jack of all trades that have graduated to master of all trades.
I don't know. But his thought process, he's always like innovative. He has a solar system now. He's got a windmill. Windmill. My southern came out, sorry. Windmill that generates solar power or wind power, turbine power. And then he's, a lot of them have solar panels for their electronics because, they have power tools and stuff like that. They're not completely
there's no grid there. You're not just hooked to the thing. You don't just flip a switch and the lights come on. There's a lot of work that has to be done and a lot of maintenance that has to be done before that.
Well, and, the thing that gets me too is there's also another person. He actually has a boat that is just, every time he gets in it, it sinks more and more and more because there's so many curly. Yeah. He's the tree trimmer or tree lumberjack. Really amazing to watch him cut down some of these trees. And I'm like, those are like 120-foot trees, bro. Like
100-foot trees.
One of them was like a dead standing tree, but it was rotted out. And I couldn't help but laugh. This guy was like, when it falls, it's going to explode. So we need to get out of the way. And I'm like, okay, because, sometimes you see those rotted trees. We had one back here. I was like, it didn't bust open, but when it actually came down, they had to take down. This was one of the ones he was talking about. So he had to tie it to a live tree. He had to cut the live tree down to pull the weight where he needed it to go because the dead weight was going towards his friend's house.
Right.
And the houses are the only thing that keeps these people warm. It goes in the house. Nobody stay warm. So he had to tie it to
it. Gives you a skylight.
His thought process and his smarts of knowing how to lay this tree and how to cut it and how to wedge it and I was like, and it didn't fall directly where he wanted, but it was almost dead on. And it just exploded. It was like little shards everywhere.
Yep.
It was, I don't know, it was really cool to see. But they all just learned it over the years, and their parents have taught them, and people who've lived in the village have taught them. And a lot of the fishing and the smoking and all that stuff that they talk about with their food, they learned from Native Americans. I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah, natives to the area. Yeah.
Well, they said Native Americans specifically.
Right.
There was actually an Indian tribe that they had spoken about. I can't remember the name of it, but they had specifically talked about the fact that that's what was up there. Maybe it was native to the country, but I do remember one of them saying Native American.
Yeah, Inuits are Native Americans to Alaska.
Maybe Inuits was the word they used.
Inuits, yep. Which they do have a lot of cool things. I
couldn't survive there to save my life, but I probably could learn.
I could survive just fine. I don't think I would enjoy it so much anymore because I'm getting to the point now where I want to relax. I don't get me wrong. You give me a chunk of woods and a big 24-inch bar chainsaw, and I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna relax. It's gonna be a lot of work, but I'm gonna relax. But
but they were talking about like having to haul up firewood because they don't have heating systems in their house up like a quarter mile up a cliff just to get it to your front door. That's not even actually really to your front door. That's to your deck.
Right. A lot of them use cranes to get
or pulley systems. But I don't know. It's really cool to see the camaraderie and people helping people and the choice that they've made to quote unquote live off the grid.
Yeah.
Like they take only what they need. They use everything. They don't throw away. Very little waste. Curly actually he calls himself the trash man of the village.
Yeah, sometimes, because he'll make a run to town with all the trash.
Literally for him so anytime he has to take his trash out, it's once a year, and it's a 3-hour trip, boat and vehicle, to get to the dump, to dump his trash. So like it was only in a year, him and there was like 2 or 3 other people that he stopped by.
He had a small pickup load.
He had like maybe, you remember the old Rangers?
Yep.
He had a bed size of that. It probably the bed was probably as big as probably what our F-150 is, like a 5-foot or whatever it is.
Yeah, it was. I would say it's probably about a 6.5 foot bed, and he had 3-foot sides on it, so it's probably 6 by 6.
Yeah, but that was all he had. His village had for a year of trash because they use 99% of what it is,
right? So
that they don't, 3 hours from a boat, because you got to go a boat and then you got to get in the car and travel another,
Yeah, it was an all day trip. Yep.
Yeah.
And you had to handle it. You had to take it from the house. You had to carry it down to the boat dock. You had to put it in the boat.
And then from the boat to the car.
Boat to the truck. And it's
boat to the.
It's not like you pulled right up beside the boat and flung it. No, you had to throw it on the beach, and then you had to carry it to the truck, and then you had to drive 3 hours to the dump, and then you had to take it out of the truck, throw it in the dump, and then you had to drive 3. It's
a lot.
It was a full day.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really cool show. If you guys ever want to take a peek at it, it's really mind opening to realize how much
that we have now.
Yeah, we don't. I for sure don't. I for sure don't take a lot of it for granted anymore after seeing this episode. But there was actually it's like 70-something years old, almost 80 years old. I think he is, or I think he's in his 70s. And he's out fishing like he's a 12-year-old. I'm like, how are you moving like that? I'm like just about to turn 40 and I'm like wheezing. Like, what the heck?
He's out there doing all kinds of stuff like that.
Trapping and going fishing and walking 20 miles on a day. And that's not an exaggeration. He's walking 20 miles a day. He shot a doe so he could eat. And he made a backpack out of it because he forgot his backpack, or he didn't have his four-wheeler because his four-wheeler broke down. And he hauled this thing 14 miles on his back to his truck. Like it was nothing. He's like, just part of the day. Got to get it done. I was like.
Which actually makes me feel really good because he's had a hip replacement because he had a broken hip. So he had a hip replacement. I'm thinking, man, I almost can't wait to maybe I ought to pick up hunting. I get my other one done. I feel like a new man.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, I have faith that you could do it. I think we could do it if we had to, but it wouldn't be my first.
Well, the good thing
choice.
Is that you see
the medical is the biggest one for me.
You see the kind of community that they have.
Yeah.
And then if you take a step back and you look at all the people that are in our lives, we almost have the same kind of community. Now, the survival thing is not the same, but the community is.
Yeah.
Right? We ask any one of our people, hey, I need help with this or whatever. They're there. And I think everybody should have that kind of community within their lives. And I think that would create a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
And that household will excel.
Yeah.
To the extent that I think most of us have never seen before.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is, like you said, I think is not taking for granted what it is you do have. Not dwelling on the stuff that you don't.
Right.
And if it's something you need, there's always a way to get it.
Yep. And if you run into a problem, if you can fix it, fix it. If you can't, don't dwell on it. Work around it.
Well, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right.
Like a lot of people are afraid to ask for help because they'll be judged that they're stupid or they don't know anything or whatever. If we had a more community atmosphere in this world, I think this world would be a massively different place.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Our resources would be in a much better place. I think humanity would be in a much different place. But I digress. But if you get a chance to watch the show, it's definitely a good show. It's definitely an eye opener, and it definitely teaches you not to take things for granted. That something as simple as electricity.
So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. I'm glad that we are glad that all that stayed tuned in to the end, that you stuck with us, and we appreciate you so very much for doing just that. Right? We are on Facebook, YouTube. We are on Spotify, Audible, most of the major outlets. Look us up, Happy Household Podcast. Comment, like, share, enjoy, and send us comments back. Send us topics. Send us if you have any questions. If you would like advice. We're not trained professionals, but I feel like
we got some funny stuff to say.
Yeah, it may be something that we've been through already, and if we can help you guys out, it makes us happy.
Well, even if it's just. We would love to just hear from you guys, even if it's just, hey, I don't want advice.
This is a funny story. You got to hear this.
Yeah, or something as simple as, I just wanted to say hi and let you know I'm here. Yep. Whatever it is that you may need. Yes, we're not trained professionals, but we are human beings and we do care. We care about all of you. We care about your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being. So yeah, shoot us a line, listen up, and
email us.
Enjoy it, and if not, sorry.
Email us at happyhouseholdpodcast@gmail.com. And with that, I guess we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.